Do you want a stronger body and a sharper mind? Science shows that strength training may be one of the best ways to protect your brain. I'm Janet McConnell, healthy longevity advocate, fitness educator, IFBB national champion bodybuilder in my late 60s, and I have seen firsthand how strength training transforms the body and the brain. Today, I'm going to share 3 major strategies. It has to do with resistance training, smart nutrition, and key supplements, all that can help you build physical strength for sure. But the side benefit, protect your brain for years to come. When most people think about lifting weights, they picture toned muscles, a faster metabolism. Yes, that happens, but there's a deeper truth. Strength training is just as important for your brain. It boosts memory, focus, and resilience while lowering the risk of decline as you age. And there is a bigger insight that I've come around to realizing lately, and that is that the brain thrives on challenge, doing hard things like lifting a little heavier, learning a new movement, or pushing through resistance strengthens your mind just as much as it does your body. So let's get into those 3 strategies. The first one is resistance training, the brain's best workout. So the fact is, strength training increases brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF for short. And this helps neurons grow, repair, and reconnect. How is that not good when we are fighting this slow rising epidemic of dementia? Resistance training can help with that. That's why even with our elderly, there are programs being put in place, even in care homes, to move more, because we're finding out in the scientific double-blind research that movement really does save your brain. After my health crisis in my late 40s, I started lifting to improve my vascular health and lose weight. Wasn't thinking about my brain at all. And my muscles for sure got stronger, and my heart was very happy. And yes, it surprised me how much of a transformation happened in such a short amount of time. Just a few months, and the body's like, yes, we can. But the other thing was, I was surprised by the mental clarity I had at work. I was more patient, more emotionally regulated, and better at problem solving, seeing things objectively rather than reacting emotionally. That fog that so many people feel that just makes it hard to string thoughts together, it started to lift. I became more willing to take a calculated risk at work and to face challenges, make tough decisions. I started to ask myself, what is happening to me? Why am I braver, more confident, more centered? As you can imagine, I was just learning for the first time, firsthand, that what I was doing in the gym and in the kitchen was changing my brain. And speaking of the kitchen, strategy number 2, nutrition. You knew it was coming. So feeding your body and your mind. We often think that food is to sustain the body, but the brain expends a tremendous amount of energy and it's looking for food. So feed your brain well. Your brain is hungry. Steady protein is its favorite food. And my workouts improved when I upped my protein and cleaned up my nutrition. So while I was starting to see firmer arms and shoulders, my legs, my waist, they were all starting to change. But my focus and my energy were through the roof. I did not expect that. I thought, well, I'm sleeping better. That's probably part of it. But then I realized that it actually was more than that. I was no longer riding on a blood sugar roller coaster anymore. I was fueling both my muscles and my mind. So specifically, what I mean by nutrition, if I put them in little groups or little families, one would be protein, because this helps you build your neurotransmitter connection that powers mood and memory. So meat, fish, eggs, Greek yogurt, very good, healthy cottage cheese. If you can tolerate dairy, those are the foods that really help you. And then there's other legumes and beans that have a good amount of protein if you tend to be more on the vegan side of things. Another area is the omega-3 fats. So this would be the fatty fishes and also some seeds. It's very important to get these in. And if you think you're not getting enough or you don't like eating those things, you want to be sure and supplement your omega-3. It helps to keep your brain structure with integrity and reduces the inflammation that also is a perfect breeding ground for dementia and the dementia process. And another big group in that clean nutrition that helps your brain is colorful vegetables, rainbow. I remember seeing a nutrition program for kids that talks about eating the rainbow. In other words, not just green things, but red, orange, yellow, and purple things too, because those have a larger amount of antioxidants that help to protect your brain cells. So strategy number 3 in the big picture, we have resistance training and nutrition. The third one is smart supplementation, which is just extra support for your brain. So facts are that supplements can't replace training or good nutrition, but they can give you a boost. It's kind of like a little extra edge. So one of them that I rely on for brain health is creatine. Creatine is not just for muscles. It improves brain energy and memory. And the research that is really rigorous is pouring in to support that. The second one is omega-3s from fish or algae oil for sharper connections. And another one is vitamin D. We hear a lot about that these days, and it's absolutely true. You can get some from sun and you absorb that. But if you live in a very hot climate where you try to avoid too much sun or a place that's rainy and cloudy a lot, you might need to supplement. And that's something you can tell on a blood test if you're not sure you're getting enough. But it really helps with mood regulation and cognitive function. And then a fourth one that I can't leave out is magnesium. Now, both vitamin D and magnesium really help with calcium absorption, which is good for your bone density, but specifically also magnesium supports sleep, stress, and neuron health. So it is a kind of an all-purpose super scooper. It gets everything. And while we're on the subject, maybe you think the way I did, where I used to believe that if my nutrition was on point and I was eating a wide variety of vegetables and getting all my nutrients and eating enough calories, enough protein, that I really didn't need to supplement. And while it is true that a robust nutrition plan can move the needle, the real litmus test is a blood test. And I found out that actually I was deficient in quite a few things, even though my dinner plate was awesome. So it has to be a decision you make for yourself. And as you know, I highly recommend at least getting some metrics for yourself. But after much experimentation and then diving into the research and reading the different studies, I'm now much more of a believer. I found out that if I'm consistent in taking my little handful of vitamins once or twice a day, depending on the supplement, I was noticing that my recovery after my workouts were faster. I slept more soundly, especially with that magnesium in place. And I found that my focus, this is even years ago when I was still in corporate life, my focus was better. I had an easier time tracking through a boring meeting and picking out the key points that I needed to pay attention to without just completely going into sleep mode. I could track it. And I thought, well, that used to be really hard. Now my brain actually works better. So my growing knowledge, curiosity, experimentation, more curiosity in reading. And I have learned, don't scrimp on quality to find a cheaper product. Do your research. I have a lot of kind of wisdom on that in some previous videos. You can find, there's 2 or 3 on supplements if you look back in the catalog. And so if you want to know more deep dive information on, say, vitamin D or magnesium or creatine, it's all there for you. I won't dive in here, but just suffice to say, go with high quality and you won't regret it. So to reiterate, strength training doesn't just build stronger bodies. You can't build a stronger body without us getting a stronger mind along the way. It doesn't stop at the neck. It affects the whole body. Your brain thrives when you challenge it. Every rep, every hard thing you take on is telling your body and your brain, I'm not done yet. I'm getting stronger. I need to maintain this muscle and this brain tissue to do what is asked of me. If you want a stronger body and a sharper mind, don't wait another day. Pick up a weight, fuel your body properly with the right brain foods, and pick one smart supplement. Start with that, even if it's just a really good vitamin C. And if this video gave you something new to think about, or gave you a feeling of, I'm on the right track, share it with someone you know who needs it, and subscribe to our community. Share with someone who wants to age strong, just like you. And remember, it's always uncomfortable to change a bad habit into a good one. But that discomfort is the signal that healthy growth is beginning to happen. So don't stop. See you next time.